Here we are.
There we go.
We are in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Just coming out of Surf Expo. This is Talk Story episode 33. Today is September 7th.
Oh, 7.
Is it still?
Already.
Yeah, still. Yeah. We were close to the mark a few times in a row. But September 7th it is. Episode 33, Talk Story. I'm Brad Wells of ThankYouSurfing. Right here I got
Christian de la Iglesia for a surf shop.
and over here, the man with the mixer.
It's me, Caleb.
Whoa.
Wow.
R&B singer right there.
That was-
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's me.
What?
Caleb.
We all have to do cool intros now?
Caleb. Yeah.
I didn't even know.
I was just like, we're just keeping it casual.
I
Fine.
know. He's always got to one-up us. He brings microphones. He's got headphones on. We don't have headphones on.
Creating personalities now. Jeez. Hey, this is Caleb.
We don't have cool beards or anything.
You can reach me at
Anywho, welcome to Talk Story.
That was a little bit of a different talk story we got going on here, isn't it?
I am very thrown off by this whole situation.
Well, we tried, to kind of find a
I feel like I got to
decent-
look over there into the people, which is represented by an iPad and an iPhone staring back at us. That makes me feel like more like we're doing this.
versus when we have it at the shop.
No. Just like in general. Because if I stare around like other places, I see weird motel stuff here.
Then if I look forward, I just see cameras in front of me.
Yeah, that makes me feel way more comfortable.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep looking at you guys tonight, I think.
Unless you guys see anything going on behind
Yeah,
you.
and
unless
maybe-
somebody
Like if
goes
there's
by
gunshots
behind.
going on, we'll let you
Then
know.
we'll
see
you'll
things
just
walking
see us
by.
duck, or if there's anything else cool going on, I may have
Text
have
Brad
my
so he knows.
attention. Yeah, I do have my cell phone in my pocket.
So we made it to the coastline.
Weekly happenings this week. We're here for Surf Expo. We went to go see is this the largest trade show for surf and water sport kind of biz?
For surf, definitely for like surf and water sports. Other than that, you have the outdoor retail show is probably the mother of all shows on the other side of things, but and I'll do some of the water sports as well. But
it's not
there's
Surf
nothing
Expo.
surf, right? Surf Expo is Surf Expo. It's been around the longest and it's
So
massive.
it's crazy.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I think we're gonna go heavy into this. And
Got it.
our topic number one, Christian
Keep
likes to
it-
get
yeah,
ahead of
okay,
us
listen.
sometimes. He's like trying to keep the movement
I'm excited.
going.
Let's get the
He's like
talk
Segway
on.
King that sometimes gets a little ahead of his own segues.
Well, just have enjoy it. Have a good time.
Other weekly happenings. Anything
Not,
else going on? I mean,
not much.
I got nothing. I mean, we had Labor Day. That was good to that one day off, kind of recharge the batteries and all that.
I mean, I feel
stuff.
like our weekly happenings really kind of blends into weather right now because like the only
I
happening thing
can't-
that we all care about.
I can't stop. Won't
We
stop.
all, it's just
Couldn't
like,
stop if I wanted to.
yeah, so you're like, all right, well, that's the only happening I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, we're just like cruising straight downhill into the report and forecast. So yeah, I forgot the weekly happenings. We're at Surf Expo. Report and forecast. Report was we had a tropical storm come over us during the week. That was a sort of anticipated nicety.
Did you go? Did you get out there?
Oh yeah, of course.
How was it? I missed it.
There was 7 days of waves, Chris.
No, I was talking about like actually this past Monday with.
Oh, when the storm actually passed through.
Right.
Yeah, but prior to that, we had that tropical wave pretty much just
Yes,
sitting
yes,
on
yes,
top
yes.
of us and just
Caught some of that.
enhanced southeast or east southeast winds, and I mean it was fun. It was not big or anything, but 15-mile-an-hour wind, maybe a little bit better than that, and knee to thigh high, maybe a waist high bomb on the right tides, but
But
really
take it.
fun.
We'll take it.
Super rideable.
Yeah, and it was like good to be out there again, and for days in a row.
Yeah.
It was kind of unexpected in a way. I kind of thought we might be like near riding surf, but I didn't think it was actually going to be like day after day, completely rideable and actually a lot of fun. And then we had, like you said, the tropical storm come through.
Which is what I missed. Did you get to go out in that day?
Yeah, so it really kicked up on what was that?
Monday.
Monday morning. It was blowing like really hard, like more than tropical storm force. Like approaching hurricane gusts, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I felt some passing rain.
I lost a bunch of leaves on my papaya tree. Not happy about that. It blew over in the wind. I did not weight it down properly. So
That's a bummer.
yeah, so I woke up to that and I was like, oh man. And then later in the day, as the storm departed rather quickly, the wind dropped just like completely like a rock, and then the swell dropped just like a rock too. But in the meantime, like in that little bit of mix between the wind dropping and the swell dropping, it was really fun. Like solid, chest high, glassy-ish. Like I can't call it like a swell or anything, but it was
just leftovers.
like a cleaned up leftovers, and like it would
for
come
like
in,
what, like an hour, 2 hours?
yeah, like I'd say probably more like 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
I mean, by the time
But,
the wind,
well, because by the time I
dropped.
got there, I actually did get there like 4:35. At that point, it was like barely knee high.
Yeah,
And
was
that's the way
crazy.
it goes around here sometimes.
Well,
You
it
go
also
to
had a lot
Miami.
to do with the tide. So the tide was dropping
Right.
out. The higher tide was like mid-afternoon,
Right.
maybe 2 or 3 or something like that. And then by the time you got there, it was like almost dead low tide in the evening, and it just sucked all the energy out of it.
Yeah.
But 6-7 days waves in a row this time of year
late summer, yeah.
in South Florida
Looks
is
like it's not stopping out there.
right into the forecast. You cannot stop with the segues. It is late. He's trying to finish the show, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this one. I mean, it is the peak of hurricane season. Everyone should really like look at how the hurricane season works. Early season is really kind of slow. As you get into end August, really starts to ramp up, and as you get into like September 12th or so,
It's like a tinderbox almost. It's like at any point.
I mean, if there's not a storm in the tropical Atlantic during that time of year, it'd be really, really weird.
right.
Which is why, Unsound Pro weekly happenings next week. Unsound Pro up in New York. These guys score every single year. You want to know why? Because they plan the contest around the peak of the hurricane season. And New York faces south, and they get cold fronts, which blow the winds to the north, and it just goes gangbusters.
Wasn't the WSL contest that it did in New York around this same time also?
Yes, it was.
And then we had one great swell coming through there.
That was, I mean, all the guys that were in the World Tour at that time were blown away by the quality, consistency of the waves, and just the vibe all around. They couldn't believe they were in New York's, like, close enough to see Manhattan from the lineup, and the waves were going off. And same thing again this year. Dave, Mike, you guys run a hell of a contest, hell of a community shop.
That's awesome.
And so I'm happy to see them getting
a
heck of a forecast.
Our local boy down in Miami and Puerto Rico, Marley, was looking to
Marley, I talked to him this week about it.
Puglielli.
He's up there. He's going to surf in the contest, and sorry, Bal and all the local guys up there, but I did give him a little bit of knowledge.
I think he broke golden rule.
I try to look. I'm a Miami guy. I'm a New York guy. Marty's a good guy. I want to see him do well.
Share some love.
And so I told him a couple little spots where to
Coaching
sit.
don't hurt. A little coaching don't
I
hurt.
mean,
Nobody.
he doesn't need my help in surfing, but it's a spot that he doesn't surf all that often. I grew up surfing it, so I gave him a couple little tips. If it works out for him, that'd be awesome.
No,
If he goes up against like Bal in the finals, that would be awesomer.
Yeah.
All right, back to the forecast. Sorry, I got into the Unsound Pro thing. It's kind of a... it's awesome.
the New Yorker. No?
It's just so awesome. Just go get a slice, get a bacon, egg, and cheese, and a mixer, and just sit on the boardwalk and just watch the waves crank off the jetties. It's just...
And the weather's pretty decent this
Oh,
time.
man, it's so nice. It's like... You go on a surf trip to New York in September. You will not be unhappy.
Disappointed, right?
It's just so good. Forecast is Hurricane Florence chugging across the Atlantic.
Chug, chug, chug.
The models have got some kind of scary situations setting up for the mid-Atlantic. I don't want to be like a fear-monger and really say anything that I don't know is going to happen, but definitely it's peak of hurricane season. If you live in the Atlantic coastline, you know what that means. Don't be a dummy.
Yeah, you got to be ready for stuff within the next 3 to 5 days. I mean, be able to act.
I wouldn't even say it's like 3 to 5 days. I think those play, just like with Irma last year, I think that there's a little bit of like hype before the storm, and that's for good reason. There's a lot of people that need to get a lot of supplies. There's a lot of things that need to happen. And
well, it also serves as a reminder, like, oh, no, there is actually something really happening.
For real.
Like, put your, be on your alert and your senses and make
Yeah,
the
and
call
look,
when you have to, and it's best for
buying
you.
canned goods, water, it doesn't go bad. So if you have it in your stock room or your pantry or under your bed or wherever you got to keep your stuff in a Tupperware or something,
Bomb shelter.
just go for it. Just buy all that stuff and just get ready. Because after Florence, which we're not exactly sure what's going to happen, there's just a whole slew of waves coming off Africa, and National Hurricane Center is already calling for development of every single one of those.
Right. It seemed like tops just zipping off like zing.
It is.
Zing.
I got to say, like, I haven't seen a season like this where they're hitting the Atlantic right off the coast of Africa and being
already
invests like as soon as they hit ocean.
So is there anything going on in the ocean in that large amount of area that is unfavorable at the current moment, or is it all just super favorable like these things?
Well, yeah, like, that's actually a good thing. Good question to ask. Florence went through, actually, like right about now, was going through an area that they thought was going to be unfavorable for development, or I should say further development, and it was supposed to kind of just chug along doing the same thing. Not the case. It's the first major hurricane of the whole season. So, yeah, I mean, you're dealing with factors that are just beyond human comprehension to this day, even with all the science and models and everything that we have. So, things
do what it wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, nature does what it wants to do, and it will continue to bewilder us.
Right. It's that never-ending search.
Yeah, it's such an awesome part of trying to figure all this stuff out, is that you're never going to be able to do it 100% ever. You just get better and better and better and better and better at it, and I guess that's the quest. But in terms of the surf forecast, just to go off of that, I mean, pretty much gangbusters going forward.
Gangbusters, Central Florida North, gangbusters, the whole coastline.
I'm going like Central Florida through Nova Scotia, Newfoundland for probably
the next 2 weeks.
At least. I mean, I don't see the swell train really stopping. It's kicking into gear.
We should get a van.
Ocean's picking up.
We got a van.
We should get a van.
So we should just not.
Can I tell you how much I've loved this van this whole trip so far? That started this morning, like this whole trip started. We've been on the road for weeks. Started 10 hours ago. Jesus, it's a long day.
We're so road weary by this point.
Long day, but
it's more like that
van's pretty awesome though.
We listen to Bob Seger all day.
Bless your hearts.
But yeah, I mean, the forecast looks really awesome. And you know what? It's September in the Atlantic, and that's what you got to look for. If it doesn't happen now, I mean, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. So it's happening. So get ready. If you haven't been doing your push-ups and your sit-ups and your breath hold exercise, go ahead and do a couple right now. Do a couple.
It's funny to be at Surf Expo and have everybody kind of like just talk about it. Kind of like there's some buzz. You have a lot of California guys that are kind of like typically supposed to fly out tomorrow, being like, if I would have known, I would have wanted to. They want to catch it over here.
I know
and we saw Shane from Island Water Sports, and we were talking to him. He's just like, I'm getting things set up so that the whole fam knows these 4 days. Don't know where I'm gonna be, but I'm surfing.
It's actually not just like a surfing phenomenon that happens, or a surfer phenomenon that happens around hurricane season. I feel like for some reason everybody else, because of like the craziness that hurricanes bring and just like the media frenzy, that surfers become like this crazy cherry on top. That they're like, it's like you'll see Jim Cantori out there in his parka, it's getting pelted by rain, and they just like hoping that Caleb's going to come by on a surfboard to interview. They're just like, if we could just get one bearded man with
some
a
guy
surfboard
just fits that mold.
They just put it out there for middle America and be like, oh, this guy's cradzy. And, you got to
it's front page r/Florida man.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect for that. And so it just adds like the hype of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean.
So get out there.
Chicky, for example, Chicky from Debo.com. If you guys don't, look at Chicky. You got to check out Debo.com. DABUH.com.
Quality info with some entertainment.
The guy is
he's just awesome.
Just so out of his mind, excited about forecasting. And
so epic.
You're going to have to go ahead and read between the lines and, deal with a lot of
if you understand old 90s songs, you'll be able to decipher or decode a lot of his reports.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can like decipher salt and pepper lyrics, you'll understand what the forecast is for the next hurricane. It's true.
It's true.
Chicky, love you, buddy. He's a hell of a forecaster, and he loves calling it way out, which I think is just really ballsy. I mean, it's the chance of being wrong is just so high that he just puts it out there.
So crystal ball gets so like mesmerizing. You're like, whoa.
It's a lot of science. It's a lot of art, and it's just a lot of just like kind of farmer's almanac, feel it in your knees kind of stuff. And he throws this whole thing together in that
ability to see patterns and stuff, swirls, and just knowing how things react and doing it. It's almost like everything kind of connected. It's watching weather on just more layman level is pretty exciting and interesting, just so I can imagine for guys that study it.
He just layers it with that, like that understanding of it, with the surfer understanding, which is like big storm, big wave, and then also gets into like the meteorology side of it, which is, way more into mathematics and things like that. And when you put all those three together, and then some mid-90s like hip-hop stuff, whatever he puts in all caps, because that's the way the National Weather Service puts the stuff out. It's just awesome. So check out Chicky.
Why it's all caps.
Yeah, you guys know that?
No.
I mean, I joked about it today. They just couldn't find the all caps button on his computer, but
Someone took it.
All right, but other than that, yeah, forecast looks great. I mean, just keep checking out ThankYouSurfing, because I'll keep posting stuff. I don't post long range forecasts.
But in part of that forecasting, we didn't talk about far South Florida, did we? In regards to anything reaching down there?
No, that's the whole thing. Like, I don't really like to get too far out because it's really, really hard to pin it down. Okay. So I will get into like generalities about that, because you're right.
So let's talk about percentages, right? So what is the percentage that there is potentially going to have some surf down in far South Florida? When would it be?
Yeah, all right. So percentages are really hard for me to give, but I can give you like some idea of the conditions that we're looking for. So essentially, Florence is heading east to west, and it has strengthened, which is good. So you want a large storm with a lot of strong wind blowing in a direction that's headed towards your beach. If that storm is like a car that's headed on a road towards your house, and it's been going down that road for a long time, it has this thing called cumulative fetch, which means that the waves build on top of waves, build on top of waves, build on top of waves.
It's piling up in front of it.
Yeah, and it multiplies the effect of the swell being generated. So you guys know, like, if a storm just blows past you, like we had this last tropical storm, in and out, you're like, oh, great, no, what happened? That's not so much the case with the storm that's coming directly at you. It has just this longer chain of energy that builds up, and it gets bigger swell size, end period, which, I mean, for us as a hurricane, that's what you want to look for. It more mimics what you'd see in like the Pacific or the Indian Oceans. In terms of what we're looking for South Florida, you want a storm that's going to do that and then get really, really, really close to the coast, because it's got to thread the needle, which you've got between, pretty much like the Carolinas and the Canadian Maritimes. There's just like this one little window in there that'll send a north swell all the way down. And you want the storm to sit there. So like a storm that sits in that little nook right south of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and if like Sandy, for example, just kind of sat there as like a cat. No, actually, it passes a tropical storm and then went a little further north and grew. But either which way, the idea is that you want a storm that sits there for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
It's just not an easy thing to do. In terms of hurricanes doing it, it's really risky for hoping for that, because you're basically flirting with the disaster in the Outer Banks and South Carolina, Georgia area. And so you're like, go close to them, but just like back off a little bit when you get really close, and then come back over the ocean, just sit there for a little bit. That'd be just perfect. Yeah, good luck with the storm. Oddly, we had a couple models doing that exact thing. And that would be like if a front starts to push off, it'll move the storm back off the coast, and the front is not strong enough to completely deflect it. It'll just dissipate and just do the same thing again and just make another run at it.
Right.
which for swell would be bananas.
Right.
We had some things do that back in the day. I think Hurricane Gert, I want to say.
What'd you call me?
Hurricane Gert, I think, was like that. I don't even remember what year it was. I just remember it doing a loop-de-loop in the middle of the Atlantic. But yeah, so as we get with a hurricane closer to the coastline, we wind up with a better chance for swell in South Florida. When it's way the hell out, coming off like Africa, moving across the whole Caribbean, up through the Bahamas, you got nothing.
Right.
You do got that one opportunity for that one mystical swell that does happen in South Florida on an east swell, between that thing that happens with those islands with the art there, but they make a block, and in some places they don't. I won't say much more than that.
And that's what happens. It's like a bing bong boom. It's like a fold out bed that the Cubans call. It's just a bing bong boom. It's amazing. It just happens.
We need you for those.
Yes. He would have been all over that one. He would have known what's up.
He would have been jumping out of his skin on that bing bang boom.
So we're in Cocoa Beach, and a lot of us being up here was actually to be here for Surf Expo.
Surf Expo.
Not your first one. Your first
surfing.
one.
Yes.
This is my second one this year.
Second one. Oh, that's right. Wow, 2 in a year. Like full
2 in a year, and I hadn't been in 15. So
wow, interesting. Did you notice much difference in this one?
I don't even want to talk to me about it yet. I wanted to hear Caleb's because he's like brand new to the experience.
And what was great is as soon as we walked in, it was right at the resort show portion because the show is really big and there's like a whole area that's resort area. There's a whole area that's surf and all.
My mom doesn't even buy that stuff. Just my aunt. That's the only person.
I could hang with your aunt then because I am into resort wear. I gotta say, it's a good look. It's like it's so casual,
dude. Everyone looks like they're like from the Keys or
like you can't possibly. If you wore that into like a resort meeting, they'd be like, "This guy is way more relaxed than us." I didn't even. You just go ahead and put on the fedora and the linen and like the Karachi sandals.
And then if you want to get spicy on like Fridays, you have something with like some bedazzling on it and like the hats and.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves in the resort wear. Caleb, we want to hear more from you, I think.
What else do you want to hear?
What'd you think of the show in general? Like,
so
saw
you've
the
never
resort,
been to
went to surf.
How many trade shows have you been to in your life like that? Like at a conference center?
I don't think I've ever been to any kind of trade show.
Okay, so there you go.
So this might have right.
I've been to things like that, but like gun shows are like that. I've been to a couple of those.
Gun and knife shows? The Fort
just
Lauderdale
like
gun and knife show?
right, or the one that's they do in the park there, like north. What is
right?
But
the gun and knife show is similar.
Anyways,
it's an expo.
Oh, yeah, I know it.
It's an expo of sorts of whatever.
That's the only thing I've ever been to like that, and it's just like overload of whatever the thing you're going for.
Right. That's what it is.
And everybody has the same stuff. It's like, what?
Just a different name.
How are you gonna?
And what do you think about the crowd?
The same. Well, the crowd is completely different.
But the crowd is like
the
just
crowd
as
at Surf
similar.
Expo is funny though.
It's just as similar as like the crowd at the gun show, I would imagine.
I haven't been to a gun show for a long time. I don't remember what the crowd is like.
Where are you going with that?
No, it's just like every show has got a crowd.
Yeah.
So like we saw like I don't know who was it. There was like the medical convention crowd next door, and they were trying to sell.
Was
like,
it medical convention?
I
thought it was golf. I saw two guys and I was like, this must be golf.
They're just wearing golf shirts. So
right.
yeah, Surf Expo is I think like
Wild
I said
times.
the last time, it was very different than when I went like in the mid 2000s. Mid 2000s, like we've talked about on other shows, was kind of like the heyday of surf retail.
Right.
It was the Blue Crush days. Roxy was just firing on all cylinders. All these new brands were coming out, and the trade shows showed the excess.
Right. So
I mean, it was bananas. Like more like Animal House than a trade show. I could not imagine any business happening at these
I
other
know we'll
shows.
tap into this in the next segment when it goes over into Ron John's, but I mean, you can see a lot of what that industry and excess was like in that store altogether to an extent. I mean, as far as how much product they have. I mean, granted, it's all private.
You're getting
label.
right into the next.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm coming back.
Come back.
I'm pulling it back a little bit. I'm just saying excess. Go on.
No, I mean, I wasn't talking about excess in terms of like they've got lots of
The
inventory.
industry. Yeah. So,
got,
but all right.
look
So
at them.
what?
They're expressing the
yeah.
entire product line. I'm talking
Got
more
it,
like
yeah.
there's Randall from the old Lost videos, like bashing his head through people's booths.
Yeah, they're all gonna move past that.
It was
know.
out of control. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
was
was
like they would take like a bunch of barely adults, feed them a bunch of booze, and just let them loose in a convention hall. It was like feeding rats a bunch of caffeine pills and just letting them go bananas in a cage. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah. I mean, you had fuel like through booze and loud music and just
The reef girls was more. I mean, there's a lot of girls walking around now, but back in the day was like
yeah,
insane.
it was a little different.
This is
But
like way more like
this is
trade
more-
shows that I've been to,
this
which
is
is
more
more
bu-
like
this is more
let's
business.
do business, and we
Right.
got our.
Well, back
can I
then it
please
seemed
scan
like
your-
it
can I
was
scan
all
your
about
pass?
marketing, really.
Do
It
you have
was
a
kinda
business
just
card?
like defining their brand and who we are and this and that. And,
Yes, there was
you
a
know, there was a
there's
lot
like
of
a
money
big
that was
stamp
spent.
of
Like
that.
right.
If they didn't
Like
make
really
a stamp,
representing that culture.
yeah. Oh, we got some stuff happening.
Yeah, we got some Motel madness going on outside.
Oh, she
Again,
sounded heated.
if there's gunshots going on, I'm going down.
Interesting.
We're all gonna hide under the
Well, we
bed.
might be able to bring them as guests, special guests. We don't have a special guest lined up for tonight, but it sounded like they'd like to get vocal.
This motel room
Could
is
get
especially-
wild.
If you guys haven't seen the Florida project, definitely check it out. This is where I feel like I'm at. I mean, it was filmed in Orlando and kind of similar to this whole process, but no joke. It's kind of what we're doing right now. It's the motel project.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't want to take a black light to this room, as I'm guessing.
All right, what was your next topic?
Yeah.
I mean, anything else you want to get into? All right, what's the coolest thing you saw at Expo?
Oh, I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, well, I saw a couple cool
Yeah,
things.
All right, I'll tell you mine then, because I mean,
What was
I
the
got one
coolest
right
thing
off
you
the bat.
saw? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh no, I know what it was, and
What?
it's probably the same thing you're gonna say.
What?
That fin.
Oh no, it wasn't actually.
That fin was probably the coolest thing.
All
I
right, so
saw.
you can tell.
I'm
that
not
then.
sold on it, but it's a really cool idea. It's a single fin that has like pivot to it, and they have a row of like holes that you set pins in to adjust how much pivot, where you could like flip it over and
It's like a
adjust it in
rudder.
the water. It's super easy to adjust, and yeah, so
And it's in like a normal.
when you make a turn, yeah, it's in a regular like if it's in a regular single fin box, you make a turn and it just like tracks and follows, and so it doesn't hold as much, but. I don't know. It sounded like a good idea, and it's definitely something I would want to try out.
Yeah.
Just to like see if I could even tell the difference, you know?
And like the guys that made this were at Expo. The guy that actually made the fin himself. Guy had moved to Hawaii in 1969, stoked out of his mind to just be doing what he was doing. And when you talk to him about the design, you could tell that he literally spent like years trying to make this thing work properly. Because like every time he tell you about like a little detail that about it, he'd be like,
You can tell there was a story behind it.
because there was the thing that happened, and this piece
Yeah,
of thing
they
would get
clearly
stuck in
did.
this thing.
They did a lot of testing. They have plenty of ways there to
Yeah.
do their R&D.
Where are you guys from? Miami.
God, imagine
I'm
that-
from Hawaii.
that
I was like,
process over and
He's like, why did you say that? I was like, because you have waves.
He's like, yeah, we get too much sometimes.
I was like, yeah, you can just send all your excess to us anytime you'd like.
Please and thank you.
The coolest thing that I saw was really, I guess, just like wake surfing. I guess that's what they call it these days.
The
That's what
boards?
all the
like-
cool kids are into,
Those
apparently.
the,
Because
like the
I
ones
mean-
that we were looking at the Rusty
Yeah,
booth.
because I mean, it used to be like surfing or wakeboarding or whatever, the air chairs and all that. You used to get dragged behind a boat and do stuff.
Right.
But now it's like a whole freaking thing. And there's like this whole culture of people that are just like hanging around doing this stuff. And I really like the boards. I kind of want to get one of those wake surfing boards and try to surf it.
The biggest
On a
bug,
wave.
The biggest bug in the world just landed on the windowsill behind you. The thing like knocked the window so hard. I was like, "What the hell was
Yeah.
that?" Gee,
Yeah,
sorry.
It's a bug trying to break in.
Central Florida.
It's like a-
Dude, that's like a horse slide. Dude, that thing's gnarly. That thing's gross. I'm closing the store.
He opened it.
I know. Well, I thought it was, whatever.
I said, no, the bug opened it.
Jeez, seriously.
So I think those wake surfing
All right.
boards.
Yeah, they were pretty tight.
And I think there's like something else too. Maybe the fact that those guys get a chance to ride them on a very consistent surface all the time. That they may figure out like board design a lot faster than we could or something. Well, I don't know. Like
one would say that surf parks might help in that process.
One might.
Too.
One Christian Iglesia may. I just really think that like that whole culture is gonna pop out some crazy stuff that's gonna make its way back into surfing.
Right.
The boards. I was looking at them. I was like, "This is a cool." Oh wait, this is a wake surf company. Because I was thinking it's like just a cool surfboard.
Right.
And granted, they're like 5'2" or something, but.
Past that.
What did you see? Anything like really like blow your socks off?
Those really cool ski boats. Those things are amazing. God, so sparkly.
Yeah. So to see ski boats at Surf Expo is mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Not only just ski boats, they have the hydro. Oh, was that place that you really liked?
Oh, what was it called?
The hydrofoils.
Yeah, crazy foil or something.
Yeah, the crazy foils.
I feel kind of bad. I was making fun of the guy's name, or the company name too. Apparently, the guy.
But
I like the What Youth little vibe area that they had going on for the Beer 30.
Yeah, I mean, couches, surf movie, punk rock, and a
like
keg.
And then the Hurley booth with the contest on it was pretty good. It was a good little vibe area. You had a good little corner there with a couple of the bigger brands.
Yeah,
it was a fun little vibe. It was a good little row. I mean, they usually have all the brands relatively close to each other. Absolutely.
Well, I guess the bigger brands have like
it was just a good little row of collective energy, and it was nice.
Yeah, it's like a full-on bro down.
High five party for sure.
It's just so crazy to see that much bro down in one single convention center.
I mean, that's what I kind of love about our industry and what we do. Like a lot of deals and just like relationships and things are just built on high fives and vibes and stuff like that. Aside, other things, but
I mean, there is a business to it for sure.
Right, yeah,
but it definitely has like it still maintains like this weird ribbon of that. I think it's not as much of that. Like back in the day when I went, it was all that. Mm-hmm. Like that's how you made your brand, was all bro down, high fives, throw that guy a beer, put a sticker on that chick's butt, that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe we're not putting stickers on.
But that was the vibe back then.
And
now the ribbon is
we've all gotten older.
Yeah, they put the stickers on their own butts these days.
Yeah, that might be the biggest difference. Is exactly that. The girls are like, I don't need you to put this on my ass.
Yeah, I'll take 2 stickers. I have 2 butt cheeks.
Okay.
Women's empowerment. I'm all for it. Ron Johns.
Yeah.
Next topic. That was a weird Surf Expo kind of thing. I felt like Expo is kind of weird, actually. I think this conversation about Expo kind of reflects the weirdness. There's something weird going on there. It doesn't feel...
As far as...
I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It feels like there's not like a real thread that binds everything together. It just... Like when you walk up and down the aisles, it feels really disjointed and like there's not any real like community in it.
Right.
And maybe it's because it's just been pulled in so many different directions.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they need to have like a wigs. Maybe there is a wig surf show. I don't know. But like,
well, I mean, that's just it. Is they're trying to get so many people under the same roof to kind of check all these things out. I mean, it's the whole East Coast. I mean, that comes down for it, so it just makes it easier and cheaper to have all these different things in there.
Guess.
But I mean, the industry's been through a lot in the last 10 years or so, and since the glory days, as we've spoken before, so
it just doesn't feel like Surf Expo.
Right.
It feels like.
But at the same time, those might
they
be like.
They should call it Beach Expo.
Well, maybe those radical times were back then.
Well, it's not even just about that. Like I said,
anymore.
No, I'm just saying like there wasn't any real representation of hard goods. There's no shape demo. There's no.
They'll do that. They'll do that for the January show.
I know they do it in January, but it's like, well, why are you even calling it Surf Expo and having like a bunch of bedazzled like glass sculptures and stuff. It's just weird to me.
The resort. Well, I think us walking into the place on that side first, the resort show, as like your first.
I know, but
maybe that threw you off.
But look at.
It was just like no. At first thing I walk into is some bedazzling. This isn't Surf Expo.
I enjoyed the bedazzling. I think wetsuits should be bedazzled. I think there should be more bedazzling. As a matter of fact, that may be my second favorite thing about Expo was the bedazzling, because the rest of it was all just like, really, you guys got nothing new, nothing cool really happening. What the hell's going on?
On the resort side or the surf side?
Just the surf side. There was more happening on the resort side.
Oh yeah, that's jamming.
It's just weird. I don't know.
It's I guess there's a couple different perspectives of it, but
I feel like someone's just got to really like go in and shake it up and do something different and really.
It's not cheap to show at these shows, and at the same time, like there's sometimes a lot of these reps do their own little mini shows before the fact, and you get the actual business part out of the way. And
so it leaves the question: what the hell is this thing for?
It should be to kind of, just as a retailer, you're there to kind of curate the culture that and the sport that you're part of. It's their way of doing it within their own brand. Right? I mean, maybe that was the part that's missing, that the brand is there, but the culture branding or the branding of the culture
is just not there.
It wasn't there, right.
Except for the one part you did say. We were like, oh, that was cool. Why? Because a bunch of people hung out, watched surf movies, listened to punk rock music, drank some beers in an environment that was conducive to that.
Right. Tapped into that.
Yeah. That was it, though. It's just weird that it doesn't bubble up to the surface at all. It's weird to me. I don't know.
All right. Well,
Surf Expo,
I
expect more from you. January 2019, I will be here with bells on. And I expect more.
I'll get a comment card for you.
Yeah,
I'll bring it over, guys. I'll send it.
Oh, actually, I did like the talk that they had about like the social media and retail and all that kind of stuff. I think that was cool, and people were pretty into it. So
I've always found that these shows and are great for that, like, knowledge and the education. Like, really, if you're able to come and tap into that in itself, it's free knowledge from people that have been doing it for whatever it is, whether it's marketing or PR or anything. Been doing it for a little while, and you can get some tidbits that kind of work in your world, whether it's retail or not.
Yeah, that was cool.
Right, educational part's always pretty awesome.
And then there was those two guys in the booth in the private label thing. That was the other thing I'd say is, like, most of the people in the booth are just like so over it. You're like, what are you even doing here if you don't want to talk to people? Like, staring at your phone for 4 hours, like, that's not gonna do anything for you or your brand.
It's true.
You guys spend all this money to do all this stuff. What the heck are you doing? And there was like those two guys that saw us all walk by, and they were like, we're going to talk to them.
Right. Yeah.
And like they would not take, what are you doing? Where are you going? What are you now doing? And I was like, look down at my feet, keep walking. They want to talk to me. And you're like, yeah, I do this. And next thing you know, these guys are like, we do this, we do that, we do this. We're working on this. We do this a little bit differently. We work with these guys. Here's a couple t-shirts. And like, those guys did their job. I've got their cards. I'm going to look them up. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do at a show, I feel like. And, like, there were maybe some of the only people I saw doing that in the whole show. If everybody did that there, you probably would have got what you think.
Probably in the whole private label area, those were the probably most, like, aggressive.
Even on the brand side.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Which is crazy to me. Like, those guys, if they had a brand, I think they would kill it. Just because they had
within that, it's tough sitting in a booth and this and that and all day, and you're doing it all the time. Like, I mean, granted, you build a certain strategy and format. You read people a certain way, like
Sure.
And a good majority of your business might not be from that random person from Oklahoma or wherever. That if you're a coastal brand,
then don't go to a trade show.
Right.
Just do targeted prospecting.
You're right. I mean, it's a lot of money to spend.
The show?
It's a lot of money to spend.
You're here for business. You went on your business calls.
Yes.
You accomplished what you came here to do. That's what I would expect from people that are showing. And it's just weird to see sometimes people not doing that. I don't know. I'm being a hater, I guess. I just feel like they could do. I felt like I was in there and like, guy, like, let me in your booth. I'll help you guys sell all these bedazzled t-shirts. I mean, come on, you spent all this money to be here. Like, let's go bring it to the people. Bedazzle everything out
by
here.
the 6th shirt, he'd be like, fuck, God. Come on, people.
I love the people.
He'd probably put one on. He'd be like, all right, fine. Like,
heck yeah.
Fat man and a little
Bedazzled
coat,
t-shirt.
just like straight up, just start dancing. Well,
I would do
show tunes.
Look, man.
I would do this.
I am not beyond guerrilla marketing.
I'm not beyond
It's just
appreciating it.
It's just, you got to believe in what you're really trying to do. And I feel like
I agree.
there's just a lot of people who's kind of like, yeah,
You're right.
we're at the conference. Boom,
Right,
boom.
right.
Dude,
Yeah.
make the most of it. Do something.
Yeah. No, well, you're paying for it.
That's what I'm saying,
That's the crazy part of it. But yeah, so I mean, some brands show, some brands don't. Like as far as the bigger guys, and a lot of people's orders were already in before this show.
That's
So that's a little off as well. So
weird.
it's like if you're going there, to kind of attract new business. It's kind of build on the culture that you're doing, and if you're going to do that, maybe put a little more effort into it. Is it on the show to put more effort into it, do you think, or is it brands to put more effort into it?
No, and the brands got to know whether they want to spend the money at the show anymore. And if they're like, dude, we're
a
spending all this money,
lot
forget it. It's
a
not
lot
worth
of brands
it.
are just not finding the reason to anymore, and
Right.
that's what makes expos sometimes a little.
Well, if
I
you're
mean,
gonna
like for
go,
hard goods,
do
it's great, but like maybe does a show get truncated to where it's more hard goods, and then is it worth it at that point? Then does it become a road show for everybody? Bradley, need answers.
I don't know the answer to that. All I can say is like, if I was the person paying a lot of the people that I walk past their booths, I would not be very happy with their performance. It just seems like they're just not there to do business, or they're not there to do much of anything. It's just weird. It's just a very weird vibe to me. Like, and that I don't see at other trade shows. Like I've been to other trade shows and like they are peppy and ready to throw T-shirts at you and sign you up for the latest email newsletter and all this other kind of stuff. And it's just like, it kind of looked like the industry's like down on itself a little bit.
I was gonna just say, I feel like it's not necessarily down because it's out, but down on itself. Like it's like still kind of have like that bruise syndrome where you're like oh,
it's kind of like that.
Kind of just like waiting for
Gunshot
the like
or
right, or like waiting for the floor to drop.
Yeah.
Like constantly, you're like, oh God, and maybe orders tick up a little bit, and maybe it's retroactively, or like in retrospect that people look back and like, oh, it was actually not such a bad show. We did a little bit decent volume, but I guess we'll let Shop Eat Surf figure that part out and tell us. But yeah, so I mean it was Expo. It was fun. Get to catch up with old folks.
Yeah. It is actually kind of cool for that regard. I got to see people that I met last time at Expo.
Right. Well, I mean, and then
it is a bro down. That's a cool part. They should just do that more. They should do like business roundtables and surf shops of Florida roundtables and like facilitate more things like that. Because if that's what people like about it, then just do it. Anyway, I'll get at you, Expo. We plan the whole thing out for January. We got this whole ThankYouSurfing roundtable thing that we're doing now. It's just don't even worry about it.
We'll
Ron John's
next
topic.
Right. So
this one blows my mind because Ron John's. I mean, it's an institution on the East Coast of America. If you've ever been to a beach town, you know about Ron John's. I mean, at least in New Jersey and Florida.
Right.
Sorry. It's the biggest surf shop on the East Coast.
Right.
Without question. They got a location in Long Beach Island, Atlantic City,
they're
down
just
here
in Cocoa, and then
they got one at the airport, I think, in Orlando Airport.
Oh, they also have one in over at Sawgrass.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've taken this concept of a surf shop just way beyond what you would think of as your neighborhood surf shop.
And walking through there just now, I hadn't been here in I don't even know how long.
I'd never
at least
been
10
to a
years.
Ron John's. I had passed by Ron John's here in Cocoa Beach a bajillion times. I've been past the one in LBI about a bajillion times. The one in Atlantic City a few times as well. Even the ones in the airports, never set foot inside. I walked inside today for the first time, and it was every bit of what I thought it would be. It's so crazy.
What was the thing that probably was most impressive? Impressive, whether good or bad.
The amount of people walking in and out.
Right.
I was like, wow. I mean, this place does business. Like a Walmart. like in and out with carts of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean stuff. All kinds of stuff. They had a mug with Caleb's name, that shot glass with Caleb's name. They did not have a mug or a shot glass with my name on it, which I thought was kind of weird. Caleb's not the most, generic name. Brad usually makes the license plate name tag
at least ahead of Caleb.
And, yeah.
Caleb's like exotic.
Yeah,
it's like an exotic Americana. Or whatever.
Exotic Americana. That's good.
Maybe
you should
Viking.
Use that.
Exotic Americana.
Put that on your Tinder.
I mean, we've been
profile.
having some pretty good name making. I mean, what was Caleb's new punk band name?
Albino Al-Qaeda.
That's good.
Don't steal that. I might
good.
actually do something. With
I mean,
that.
don't you have to say something out loud, like trademarked, or so people need to know?
Patent
pending, right?
No backsies.
No backsies. Yeah, so it's pretty impressive in there. Some of my earliest memories as a kid coming up here was going in there, and the fact that it was like 24 hours. It was the most amazing.
A 24-hour surf shop.
I know.
What?
Like, really? Do you
You
really?
can get your
Who
fix
need
anytime.
wax at 3 a.m.?
It's
You never need to smell wax at 3
a bunch of
a.m.
like 10-year-olds just walking through, like, I can't believe we're still up.
Yeah, that's like me.
I
I
want to
wanna
go
go
surf
now.
in the morning.
I want to get
I
an
need
Uber
3
there in like
hours.
10
I don't
minutes.
care.
So it's so awesome. I mean, who would ever think, like, you own a surf shop, right?
Yes.
Just imagine like your wildest surf shop dreams. You'd be like, Christian, we're gonna have 3 floors.
No,
We're gonna have-
that sounds like a nightmare.
we're
It's
gonna have
giving me anxiety.
6,000 square feet of retail.
Wow, and that place is 6,000 was like their wetsuit area.
It is incredible.
I know, because we're in Florida.
I was shocked.
Who needs 6,000 square feet of wetsuit in Florida? I mean,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
actually,
they
we're in
had
North
Ron
Florida. It's
John's
cold.
name
No,
all
I'm just
over
kidding.
it.
It's cold. Right. And that's crazy. The branding, the amount of branding is like 80% of the store easily was all branding, which is what you want. I mean, that's where the margins are at. But this goes back to maybe some like
But they're
some
selling
surf
stuff
shop
that people
types.
want.
But like you have like 30 of the same shirt on a on a 4-way rack, and just all the 4 different colors and styles, and like I get it, but there is exactly that. It becomes like the Walmart of surf.
Bro, I need a blue Lycra.
And then
I want my blue Ron John's Lycra.
right.
And my son wants one, and my daughter wants a pink one, and my other son wants a yellow one, my other daughter wants a yellow one, and then my wife wants to get the one with the polka dots on it.
Is this person talking Cuban by any chance? Because it's like a faint Cuban kind of like.
I've been living in Miami a long time. It just like I don't even know if I mean to have it. It's like
a Cuban tourist in Cocoa Beach. It happens, you know.
Hey.
Mira, $350 for surfboards. I mean, we were cracking up about how cheap the surfboards were, for the most part. But I mean, there was a guarantee on it.
It is like the Walmart of surf
Yep.
shops from that exact point on. You're like $350.
Those boards don't suck either.
I felt stupid for not buying a Lycra and a surfboard.
You
I was
know-
like, I can walk out of here for like $400 and get like 2 surfboards, a Lycra, a mug named Caleb, and everything.
Right, but you realize that a lot of the price points on the stuff that they sell is a lot less than what they're selling on from the other brands and whatnot, and it'd be interesting considering where we're at, where they have the surf style type stores and all this stuff. Everything's just like,
Oh, you want to do a little,
like four t-shirts for $10 that they have to have a good majority of the store private label that can offer that price point type of product.
That's
So
be like
with those sort of
secondhand
margins to be able to
full
survive,
t-shirt for $10.
whereas with like the main brands, you'll get some people coming in because they know that it's Ron John and they've got a large area and they'll be able to get find something. But well, I just say that because sometimes you'll have people that use that as an industry tester for how brands are checking and doing well. But like if you think of the people that are coming in and the type of shops that are around for the most part, are people getting more of that private label when you can kind of see that the majority of stores like that, or are they diving into that, and is it a fair bellwether?
They probably have enough volume to do both.
No, absolutely. I mean,
They represent the
forever.
whole spectrum, So maybe like I'll go in there with the whole family, and my mom would be like, "Yeah, pink rash guard looks good," and we'll get sunburn. And I'm like, I am not wearing a Ron John's t-shirt. I mean, I'll buy that Hurley thing though. That looks pretty cool,
Right.
Or whatever,
Right.
It's weird. It's a weird combo like that. It's like
the mom and dad that wouldn't mind wearing the Ron John shirt, but then all of a sudden the snobby kid is like, "You're crazy. If I'm gonna be putting on a Ron John whatever, get me those Hurley board shorts."
Yeah. It's weird like that because you get a little bit of both, and then like I know that Ron John's like heritage is really in surfing. It's not like this whole retail.
Right.
It's just like, just so happens that.
Whoa,
this big bug in the house.
How did it get in here?
In the house. Oh my god, that thing is big.
Dude.
What the?
Seriously?
I feel like we're in Central America.
That's him. How did he get in here?
Dude, the door.
It's closed.
Stop the show.
Literally, the door's closed.
We're having a bug emergency on the podcast. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
I will karate chop somebody right now.
You just karate chop that bug and we'll be all right.
He's prehistoric looking.
Oh,
I
he's
don't
over there.
like. I
He
don't even
blends
want,
in. He blends in.
I don't even know if I want to kill him.
Just grab a chancla. You'll be fine.
Oh, he's moving. Oh, things have just gone off the rail, ladies and gentlemen. We are rearing towards the end.
Thank you.
All right.
The line, the rope, the night. Which one are we ending near? Ron John's. Yes, it's a mega store. God, I hope that thing doesn't hit me.
You talking about the guy outside or the bug?
No, either or. Is he still there? Is he still over my shoulder?
You're good.
If the bug got in, there's a pretty good chance that these guys could get in.
Seriously, is there a back door to this place? It's a freaking motel room. He can't. I knew it. This AC was scary. Now it's even more scary. Where do you think he came in from? F off.
So you want to go back to the front desk and complain like that lady that was complaining when I was checking in?
Well, she had 3 kids. I wouldn't stay here with 3 kids.
2 kids,
let alone right. No, let alone myself. Anywho, it's a wonderful place here at the Island Palms.
It's beautiful.
Come
here
check
in
it out.
Cocoa Beach.
Central
Beach.
Florida.
Tell them Thank You Surfing sent you.
Yes.
You will get the bug discount.
Yeah, getting bugged out over
So Ron John's, ginormous Walmart of a surf shop. I've never seen anything like it.
Bravo, Ron John, you're killing it.
They got like blue light specials. You can buy surfboards with fins for $350. I bet you can get them throwing a Lycra, full free. Maybe not. They probably don't have that authority at the cash register. Everything had like scanned labels on it. I don't think there's any way they could tell you about anything in that shop. But you can buy it.
That's not the point of Ron John, you know. It's just self-help, you know. You just pick up that surfboard with fins attached and just throw it in your supermarket cart and just kind of keep going and go to the deli and pick up some bread.
Pub sub.
Bakery, whatever.
That'd be awesome.
Whatever, deli, bakery. I don't even know at this point.
I think this podcast might be over for tonight.
I think so.
I'm just getting tired. I can't even hold this up anymore.
That's what she said. Talk Story episode 33 in the books. From
one way or another, we're going to do it. No matter where we're at, we're going to do it.
We don't even know if you guys want to see us, but we're coming to you live. You can unfollow Thank You Surfing if you want to.
Whoa.
Or you could not look at our YouTube or not get these updates on your iTunes or your Spotify.
I see what you're doing here. It's a whole opposite.
Oh, yeah.
You could not write us a review or subscribe to the
You should definitely not subscribe ever because I don't like it. I don't get like a huge rush of endorphins every time I see an email come to like the 42 people have subscribed. I don't.
Sweet.
Yeah, 43 last week. As of last week.
Moving on up.
Not last week. Yeah. No, we're gonna be able to do this
at least to the 52nd
for free
week.
still.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for watching Talk Story episode 33
Good night.
in the
Good
computer.
night. Good night. Good night.